Hey everyone, it's Joe, the 50-something Dasher, with the DoorDash daily recap video for March the 3rd, back from vacation. But before I say anything about the vacation, some very exciting news this past Monday, so it'll be a week ago tomorrow. Got my first hater to this channel, so exciting. Hopefully many more haters to come. They're more than welcome to come to this channel and view my videos, and even subscribe as well. So welcome on board, all the haters. And like I said, it felt so that kind of made me feel like I kind of finally like arrived on YouTube, because you can't have it just doesn't seem like you could have a successful channel without some kind of hate or backlash against it of any kind. Like I said, very exciting news. My wife and I ate out at a Chinese buffet in the haters' honor and had a amazing meal at the Chinese buffet. So, like I said, very exciting. Like I said, back from the trip to Washington, D.C., which did not go very well at all. I'm sorry to say. So we were really relieved to be back home last night. And that's kind of like, you've already seen the thumbnail picture for this video. I was glad to be back home here and glad to be back dashing. So, the only thing kind of DoorDash related from the trip is this was actually the night before we arrived in DC. I got contacted by somebody at DoorDash who wanted to know if I could set up a meeting, like a Zoom call, like outside of the regular meetings that I attend. And I want to say this was going to be just one-on-one, but I'm not 100% sure on that. So I set up a time for this past Friday, 2 days ago, at 6 p.m. Eastern. And the guy says, okay. And then, so there was a little bit of preparation that I had. Of course, we're on our vacation. We also wanted to see my niece at the military base that she's on. And so there was kind of like some planning about, should we bring her back to where we're staying, have my conference call there at 6 o'clock, or should I do this or that? Long story short, I got my iPad set up to where I could do I got Zoom downloaded on that, took that with us and my earbuds. And we got out there, we met my niece, and then it was about like, I don't know, 5:15 at that point or whatever. Then I got to a place where I could get Wi-Fi and got all set up and everything. Then get an email from this guy saying, hey, I was in the meeting, but I didn't see you there. Do you want to reschedule? But I was like 15-20 minutes early. Anyway, long story short, on his end, we agreed at 6 p.m. Eastern, but in his calendar, he put it in for like 3 hours earlier than that or something. So, and then I haven't rescheduled that, so that'll probably be for, I don't know, either tomorrow or Tuesday or something. But anyway, on to the dash. So like I said, glad to be home, back in my turf here. And this morning, woke up this morning and logged in at 7:24 in the morning. I didn't have any kind of goals today for how long I wanted to dash or how much money, or this kind of like a bonus day where I normally don't dash on Sundays. But I'm off this weekend, off the W-2. So it's just kind of like a bonus day. And I might have been tired from all the driving yesterday. So I didn't want to set any goals today. Just get out there and just glad to be back dashing again. And just until whatever time I got tired or hungry. I forgot to mention about DC. I did not attempt to do any dashing out there once whatsoever. When we got to where our Airbnb was, I could tell within about 30 to 45 seconds of arriving into that area that there was absolutely no way in the world I was going to attempt to do even just one order dashing out there. If I had a bike out there, maybe a different story, but absolutely not in a car. And I will never again in my life stay within the city limits of Washington, D.C. I'm going to go back to how I've done things before this trip and stay in the suburbs. So no dashing while I was out there. Anyway, back to today's dash. Right as soon as I logged in, got my first order, 925, 8.7 miles. So I went ahead and took it. And so I'm off to Meyer. Here's the list. Urinary pain relief and spring water. Pretty easy. And I guess... Okay, so I guess I didn't take a picture of the shopping time that it took me. But anyway, about this list, so a new change today on these Meyer orders, they put not just the aisle number, but the section number as well. So you notice this spring water B15. So the B is all the grocery aisles. And then, this F, so the F1, F2, F3, all of those is in HBC. So that was kind of cool. And that came into play and kind of helped me a little bit, a couple Meyer orders later after this one, which I'll get to. And so I finished this, $6.75 from DoorDash, dollar peak pay. There was a peak from when I started till about roughly like 11:30. I think was when it was a $1 peak, $1.50 customer tip, delivered to a sick guard shack worker at some business, and she didn't look too good either. She said that she wasn't feeling good and wished she didn't have to work, and you could tell she was feeling miserable. And I told her I hope she got feeling better. And then it was off to the next order, $7, 4.5 miles, Dollar General, only 3 items. Went ahead and took this. It's going back to my Dollar General and delivering kind of relatively close to home. And so I had this shopped in 48 seconds. I mean, just 2 cups of little individual cups of cereal and a half gallon of milk. 48 seconds. Done. I'm at the cash register. Pay screen on that. $4, dollar peak, $2 tip. $7. Can't complain. $16 after 2 orders. I'm off and running. Next was my first decline, 850, 9.7 miles. I'm not going to Darbydale at this particular point in time. It just didn't feel up for it. So decline. Decline my next one. You see here, I had to wait a little bit. So it was 21 minutes before I got the next offer, $4.25, and I was at home. I stopped back home, and I mean, even though it's one item, this was just too much to mess around with for only $4. So, And I bet that was probably zero tip, because that's $4.25 for a shopping order. That's really low. So that was a decline. Then I waited almost a half hour, and I got this 1475 7.5 mile Meyer, only 4 items. So I went ahead and took this list and time on this. The customer messaged me saying if they didn't have the 40 count of water, get two 24s, but they had the 40. And everything on this was real easy. Just took me 5 minutes, and I had this shopped. Pay on this $6.75. The peak was still in effect. $7 tip, $14.75. Great. I'm at $31. Next was a decline a minute later. $8, 10 miles. I mean, this isn't going all the way down to Orient, but like close to it. And I would have had to, I don't know. I can, that's the thing. I can be picky and choosy on these orders. So I just wasn't feeling this one. And it's not a horrible offer, but I declined it. This next one I took $15. So right after I declined the previous one, same time, 1021. This is almost double the pay for the same mileage, basically. $15 instead of $8. So went ahead and took this. IHOP. It was a pretty big order, 2 big sacks, put them in my catering bag and drove down south 104 area. Pretty easy delivery. Pay on that one was only $3 from DoorDash. The peak, and $11 tip. Great. $46. We're not even at lunchtime. Came home again. Again, on the weekends, I really don't know. So I came home a couple times, because on the weekdays, I know when to come home and when not to. But on the weekends, I really don't know. And I was getting offers here anyway. So 9 minutes later, this was a decline. Not going into downtown Columbus for this. I know it's a Sunday, but I still didn't want to go into downtown. If that would have paid over 20, maybe, but so $14.25 for 14 miles. No thanks. Next, I took this, so that I waited 14 minutes, got a better Meyer offer, $19.25, 12.6 miles, 5 items. It's not going as far north, so went ahead and took this one. And here's the 5 items. Pretty easy. This, I talked about how the section numbers kind of helped. So it helped on this last item, the spin mop refill, which I would have thought mop refills would have been in the cleaning aisle in grocery. And even though, I went against the aisle number on this, because I still thought something like that would be in grocery. So I wanted to walk down that aisle just to be sure. Sure enough, it wasn't down there. And over in households, sure enough, I didn't even know it was over there. An aisle with mops and cleaning stuff over there as well. Why you have stuff like that in 2 different places in the store, I don't know. But and the rest of this was easy to shop. And so it just took me less than 7 minutes out of the 10 minutes recommended. The time on this, or so I delivered this at 11:44, $9.25 peak and $9 tip. So another good order. Then I was out kind of like southwest Columbus, Frank Road areas where that dropped off, and I got my next order was like this little banger, 650, 3.5 miles, picking up, and you see here picking up and delivering in that southwest area that I was in. So I go to a Subway on Frank Road at like a gas station. I hadn't picked up from this location before, and I thought it was interesting. So on the orders, like sometimes it'll remind you, hey, this item here is frequently missing from orders. Now on this particular one, it was the Sun Chips. Hey, just make sure the chips are there because customers a lot of times report that that's missing. Well, I go in there and I just thought it was kind of funny because the guy hands me the sack and he's like, everything's there except the chips. And if you could grab those, they're right on that rack over there. So the one item on this order where it says that was missing, if you want to call it that, from the order, and I had to grab them. I don't know. I just thought that was ironic. I'm getting tired here. Next, let's hurry up the rest of these orders, shall we? 550 McDonald's, 2.5 miles. I went ahead and took this. I'll take orders like this all day long. Quick bangers that are, $2 a mile. This order kind of had me a little bit, I don't know, something just, my radar sensors or whatever was going off on this order. Something didn't feel right, seem right, smell right on this order. The customer gives a lengthy description of where their home is and says that, the reason I'm giving all these instructions is because I've had Dashers delivered to my neighbor's house and the neighbors will take the food. Okay, so I get this order, I'm following GPS, and I approach this customer's, and there's nothing at all that looks to me anyway confusing about this particular address. I mean, I follow GPS, directs me right to the house. The house number is right on the mailbox. And the customer also said, you can pull in my driveway. It directs me right to that house. The house number's on the mailbox. I pull into that driveway. I mean, obviously it has to be in that house that's at the end of the driveway I just pulled into. I don't see where any possible confusion is. I don't see what the customer's talking about unless, I don't know. I've been to addresses before where I've heard stories from customers that they have problems with PIN locations, and sometimes a driver will get directed to a wrong house, but other times the PIN is correct. That's the only thing I can think of, is that I just happened to drive to this customer with a correct PIN location. But tomorrow's Dasher, the PIN location could be wrong. But otherwise, there was nothing tricky about this. So, like I said, I don't know. You always worried about the contract violations, the low ratings and everything. So I did something a little bit different on this order when I took my picture. I set the food at the door, you see, and then I came all the way back to the street for this picture because there's no house number on the house itself. So you see here, I put my new DoorDash bag on the sidewalk there, and I took my picture with the mailbox number. And it's for, even though the food is way off in the distance there, but you can still see it in this picture. And yeah, on this order, like I said, something didn't smell right, so I wanted to make sure to get that house number in the picture. Next was a 625 hidden tip Dairy Queen, only 2 miles. Great. I go to pick this up. I had to wait about 3 or 4 minutes, but not too bad. And then got this order, delivered it. Let's see, what time was it? So this was probably, I think I was still at the Dairy Queen waiting. I got this, they tried to stack a $2 Little Caesars, decline, obviously. So I declined that, picked up and delivered the Dairy Queen. I didn't get a screenshot of the pay. It was only 75 cents was hidden. So payout was $7 on that. Then was a decline, 1150, 15 miles Zanzi. Look how far north that's going. Clear up to Clintonville, yeah, why would I want to go clear up there? I was kind of starting to get tired, and so decline. I get this Burger King order that I take next. This was kind of, I don't know, this is kind of frustrating. So I go to Burger King, and it had 3 2-packs of cookies. And as soon as I got in there, the store clerk says, we're out of the cookies. And I was like, well, do you have other desserts that could be substituted? And I want to find that out first before I call the customer. And they said, well, just the Hershey pie slices. That's all we have. So I go to call the customer, no answer. So I'm like, I tell the staff, okay, go ahead and give me the pies, and I'll substitute that and text the customer. So I'm trying to send a text to the customer saying, they're out of the cookies. I substituted pies, but you can still get into the DoorDash app and mark the cookies as unavailable, and you'll still be able to get a refund on those. And I'm trying to send that message when DoorDash is sending me a crappy, I might not even have it in my, no, I do have it in the notes. It's a $3.50 or $3.75 Zanzi's order. Okay. And I guess apparently this is the first time ever that I've received an offer as I'm trying to type a message to a customer, apparently. But I can't it was frustrating because I couldn't finish out my message because of that offer. And I couldn't decline and close out that offer because of the message. So I had 2 things going on. I wanted to get rid of that crappy, sucky offer and just go back to sending my message, and I couldn't. I had to close, and I actually got the offer twice. And long story short on that, I had to close down the app. And I actually had to, even with trying to do this quickly with voice to text, even still, I had to completely from scratch start my message over. I had to do it 3 times, my message to the customer. But finally, on the 3rd time, I was able to say everything, get it in text form, click that send button. Very frustrating. And then I delivered the Burger King. Next at 117 was this 502 2.1 mile Donatos. I went ahead and took this. had to wait. And I couldn't see what the order was. I had to, they must have ordered it on the Donato's website. So I had to ask the staff how many pizzas this was. And they said just one pizza. I was like, okay. Because I just took one pizza bag in with me. And Seiko to get, all it was just an individual pizza. I had the big, huge, pizza bag I took in with me for just one personal pizza. And I saw that, $5.02. So I was wondering if maybe possibly this might be like $5 from DoorDash and a 2-cent tip. But it wasn't. I delivered this to a nursing home across from my W-2 that I'd never delivered to before. It was $2 from DoorDash, $3.02 on the tip. So that took me up to $96. And this was my last delivery. Got a couple declines after that. Look at this. I declined a $31.25 offer here, but it's close to when I was wanting to stop, and $31. But look at what I would have had to do. I would have had to shop 15 items in Aldi's, then run over to Giant Eagle and shop 22 more items. And that's going to 2 customers, and one of them's near downtown Columbus. Okay. Like, I really want to, how long was all of that going to take me? I mean, my gosh, I could add an hour and a half, 2 hours wrapped up in that. So I know it's $31, but I'm not that desperate here. So decline. And then just minutes later, 3 minutes later, I couldn't remember that exact pay amount. And I was on the phone with my wife when this came across. I thought this was the exact same offer. $30.75, 12.2 miles. The other one was 11.2. But the item counts are the same. $15 Aldi's, 22 Giant Eagle. But they're at least one of the two is different because it's a different pay and different mileage. And one of them is the one customer is still that same customer near downtown, but the second customer on this second offer is closer to the 2 stores. It's just really weird, but I'm still not taking it. Only if, okay, so the change on this from the previous order was the closer customer. If instead it would have been the customer from Columbus being moved closer, if it was the other way around, maybe there probably would have been like, I don't know, maybe like a 20% chance I would have taken this offer. It still would have been slim, but I might have taken it if that second delivery wasn't downtown. But like I said, I declined both. I almost took this last offer. My finger was almost on the accept button, but last second, because I was going the opposite direction. I was traveling on Broadway. I was driving away from the Tammys, heading home. And I got this offer, almost took it. But I'm like, no, let's decline. I'm not slamming on my brakes in the middle of this road and turning the car around for $4.50. So I declined. Then I finished making my way home, got home with no other orders after this. So I just went ahead and logged off. And that's summary. So there was a 6 hour and 27 minute dash. I was active 3 hours and 39 minutes, almost 3 hours of downtime here. But even still, I completed 10 deliveries, made 96 bucks, 85 miles driven. So I did good on mileage. Now at 2,714 deliveries. Started the dash at 60% acceptance rate and finished with 57%. And I'm going to end this video and edit it, post it, and chill out, relax the rest of the day. And we'll do this all again tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Drive safe out there. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the like button. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. Check out my other videos. A lot of good stuff, a lot of information for all things DoorDash. And we will see you at the next video. Thanks again for watching.